This is Sam from OVERGROUND Sound. Rose and Callum caught up with I Am The Avalanche and they had a chat about a variety of things, including how music makes them feel. It's a great interview, guys. Enjoy.
The thing is, about I'm The Avalanche, is that I don't really understand what you guys are doing.
In what way?
Because, and I want to understand, because it seems that you're intensely creative. Intensely creative, but at the same time it seems that the pace of creativity at times has a degree of insularity about it, and so this is what I want to find out about you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, and also like you've done some solo stuff, haven't you?
I play solo shows sometimes.
Yeah, and so that also indicates that there's a lot going on in the band creatively, so that's what I want to know about.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why I asked that question about your drums.
Yeah.
How you play drums.
I mean, he said it the best. I just bang on him. I do more than just drumming. Drumming is just a part of what I do musically. I also produce records, play other instruments.
Yeah.
Drumming is what I grew up on, I guess.
Yeah. That's quite important.
Yeah.
Because especially with a drummer, because when there's a creative drummer,
He's like my soulmate as a drummer. When I write music, he knows what to play before I even have to tell him what to play. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel the same way about everyone, but I know it's funny because drummer's soulmates, he's a bass player. Like with rhythm, it's always like. And me and him, we don't even talk. I'll play a beat. I'll be like, "So, Kellen, let me hear what you're doing," and it's literally the same thing that's in my head. Yeah, I usually use my head because I'll play guitar while I'm playing him the song, and I'll use my head to be like this, and just give him little weird faces, and then he just knows.
I want to go back to that thing, that really important word you used, which was rhythm.
Yeah.
Because this is what we'll see. This is why I was really interested, especially that you staged as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see where a drummer is one of the forefront, so not exactly front person, but you two, the guys sitting here, and when a drummer is so closely involved in creativity, we've noticed a correlation in the dynamics of the creativity of that band. And it's almost as if, in fact, to a drummer, because the drummer feels the body and it goes everywhere, and perhaps that's what we're hearing.
Right.
So you've got a lot of different stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. That's probably because we listen to a lot of music. I mean, as far as, are you saying that creativity is more than that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's asking you the question. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I just feel music. That's pretty much all I know. As far as drums, it's like everything I do is with rhythm. Even when I record, when I do everything, it's all based on this mathematical rhythmic feeling.
It's kind of magic, isn't it?
With him, it is for sure. Definitely. It's definitely living in a musical brain. Aren't you, Adam?
Yeah. So lucky. When was the first time that you became aware of this kind of sense of rhythm?
Rhythm?
Yeah. Yeah, can you come closer? Sorry, I just can't. Yeah, this sense of rhythm. Can I just recap what we're talking about? What I'm trying to get at is like creativity in the band, creativity in the sound. That's what we're really interested in. So we're really interested in shit. We want to know about the music. We've come across something really interesting. I thought there'd be something, but I didn't know what it would be. At the moment, we're discussing this like the rhythm that comes in through creativity. It's like really, your creativity is not a single experience, is it?
No, I mean, yeah.
So carry on.
I mean, I've learned when I really, I guess, figured out rhythm, it was once we were in this band. Before I was just guessing. I mean, as far as like, I was learning from other people that I had seen, other drummers, other musicians. But we kind of came to our own, I guess, when we formed this band. You know, I learned rhythm off of him, these guys.
Did you notice that, you guys, when you came together? Oh yeah. I just can't imagine how exciting that must have been.
The first band practice were the best first band practice of all time.
The first band practice, the first song that we played at practice, without playing with each other at all. I mean, you know, I gave them some music to learn.
Yeah.
And we just went through the first song absolutely perfectly. Boom, last note, we all just like... Okay. And he wasn't technically in the band, right, at that point?
No.
He was going to fill in because we had a few shows set up, and a guy that was going to be like an interim drummer kind of flaked out on us. So the first time we played with him, after the first song, we asked him to leave his old band.
Yeah.
Which he did.
Which I did.
Who we were really good friends with.
Yeah, and they hated us for a few months, and then now we're all really good friends again.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's not like it's like a normal, that's a good response. I want to go back to that moment in time. Make sure you take pictures, Helen, of that moment in time when you as a band started coming together creatively. Because how long a period of time was that?
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
It's going to be 8 years.
And how long? So you must have felt that you were on a journey and everything was like going together.
I mean...
At that time, because that's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, we all were really excited, and we all got really serious about the band really quickly. We dropped our lives, we dropped everything, and couldn't wait to just kind of do it all the time.
Yeah. How long did that take from you five being together before you all basically called going professional, isn't it, really?
I think September we started.
It took like 6 months.
Yeah.
September we started, October was the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played a few shows in that year, like after September, and then recorded the record in March.
In March, yeah.
No, we recorded the record in April and went on tour in May.
Yeah.
And then it was just the way it is now. I mean, we just tour and we do our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can barely remember life before that.
Yeah. So, where do you want to go?
Russia.
Yeah, Russia.
I want to go to Thailand. China.
I mean, physically, we want to go all over the place and go everywhere that we can with music. But, I mean, as far as... I would like to go with the music to a point, like, creatively, where I feel good. Like, I don't feel terrible when I wake up.
It was a really interesting question, right? It's a very good answer to the question, because the question was obviously, I want to see what you guys said, yeah? And so what I heard in your answer was that you're really solidly committed to the sound.
Yeah.
Even though it's like a geographical answer, it's basically all about the band, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all about continuing to make music, be creative, and travel after we're done doing that.
Yeah.
And then just use that music as just kind of therapy for all of us as we go on and play. Because then when you get it all done and then you get to perform it every day, I mean, as a lyricist and as a singer, I was actually saying in another interview, but it holds true. I mean, it's just like keeps me sane and keeps me like a happy person.
When you're like playing your stuff, you know when you hear some music, sometimes you might hear a new piece of music, and it's something you've never heard before, and you just don't, you just want to live in that piece forever. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the perfection is unbelievable. Do you get like that when you're playing your own music?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. There's time. I mean, I love all of our songs, every second of every song, but there's certain times that are in certain songs that I'm like we did that together. And in my eyes, like, that's perfection.
And it's sad to think that there's bands that aren't like that. it should be that it should be that way all the time. But I think that when we're talking about real music that like really means something and it's not made for a specific purpose of something that doesn't have anything to do with music, I think basically, that I mean, we wouldn't understand. None of us would ever understand making music that wouldn't do that to us the entire way through.
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
You wouldn't survive.
No, not at all. I mean, like when you listen to a certain song and the chord change goes to a certain like sad note, or like the singer goes to this certain high note, and you get literally it's like you get like the butterflies in your stomach. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
like,
what we live for.
I get that when I play.
Okay, do you get that like off the drums or off all the instruments together?
Everything.
Yeah.
If I put myself in the right place, I can get it whenever I want.
What's the favourite bit of your set?
What's your favourite song?
Holy Fuck.
That's a good one.
I think we
all
like our new songs a lot.
Yeah, but see the thing is because Holy Fuck is quite progressed. But the thing is that I also like, I can't remember the name of it, I'm really sorry, I've got a problem with a memory problem, but one of the earliest songs which was named after a town or a state.
Amsterdam?
But it was a more, basically, it was a less involved sound. But the later stuff is more involved, but it still sounds like the early stuff, which is exciting.
I think it's an improvement of the old stuff, and I think the tempos are a bit faster, but the same soul is still there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, because it means that when you go on, that's what you'll carry on doing.
Right.
And that's why I was so curious to know about you creatively.
I think we know what the next record's gonna. We don't know exactly what it's going to sound like, but we know like how it will feel, and that's kind of like.
How's it?
All that.
Do you want to say how it's going to feel? Are you happy to say?
I think it's just going to feel classic, and important,
Yeah.
and like urgent. And that's.
Do you guys feel urgent?
Yes.
What's the urgency?
For me, it's nervous, anxious energy, and the urgency is me getting it onto paper, getting it onto record, and then singing it live, so that I can deal with myself.
So, do you think like it's accurate to say that you're burnt up by music? No, nice or not? It's like a fire.
Yeah, that's it. It's all that matters. Well, it's not all that matters.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty well connected, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Been the same 5 dudes for the last
7 years.
7 going on 8. Couldn't imagine it being a different life. I feel like it was just kind of would be.
But none of you are brothers, are you?
No. Most of the guys in this band met the first day of band practice. I mean, I had met Mike, and I had met everybody in the band. I don't think you guys had met Kellen.
I met Mike the first day of Brooklyn because he let me into the apartment that I was going to be living in.
Yeah, I met you a few days before we jammed.
But yeah, the band didn't know each other at all before the band started. I knew everybody, but I like. Yeah, we're all from different parts of the United States.
Because that's also really interesting. It's very often when you get the kind of cohesion, the kind of musical cohesion that you guys have got, and very often there's like a sibling at the heart of it, or there's a shared, there's a shared growing up childhood or something. And the fact that you guys, your link is your sound, explains a lot about it.
Right.
Because I think it's an intense relationship, just like a more or less the musical relationship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I think you can finally hear that on the records.
I think, yes. It's difficult to get that on a record.
Right.
it is when you hear it live, but you can't hear it on record.
Yeah, I think that's what we finally achieved, and I think that won't stop. I mean, this guy right here produced the entire record.
And that was
Nobody not in the band was even in the room or even associated with our record.
Yeah. That's why I feel like it came out the way it did, because my relationship with him is, best friend / drummer in my band, and he's also recording me. So there's not this recording other things where I feel like I'm being rushed, or like the person that's recording me is kind of, it was just very relaxed because I've been playing music for so long. It was like he would get the takes that he needed out of me in a very short amount of time compared to other times we've recorded.
Singing is a big deal too. I mean, singing and doing vocal takes with someone that you're not comfortable with is like hell. It's the worst. It's like work. It shouldn't be like work. It should feel good.
How can you bring that out? How can you
It's hard. You